At the beginning of this Halo Wars 2 match, we are going to start off with an economy build as Jerome, getting 2 supply pads. We're going to end up getting a generator and an additional supply pad, with our 5th building point being a generator. We've also made a jackrabbit so we can go ahead and start scouting the enemy immediately. And red looks like they're going an economy build as well. Orange is actually missing their 4th and 5th building slot. And we're going to be scouting yellow as well while we go ahead and get ourselves a mini base. And looking at yellow, there's actually double barracks, so that means there's going to be a rush that's going to end up happening from yellow. And now there's a raid camp that is showing up from orange as well. So we have a very important scout going on, and we're going to go ahead and get our armory up so we can start working on a hero. And second raid camp is coming down from orange as well, so that's going to be my cue to go ahead and get turrets up so I can start preparing for this. And it does look like there's suicide grunts as well being made by orange, and red has now decided to make a turret with an armory as well. And our jackrabbit just took a suicide grunt hit, which works out for us, but we are actually not going infantry here. We're going to go jackrabbits with hero, and this is kind of a different twist from what you usually see with Jerome's as a whole. We are going to get our second turret, and we're going to continue to keep eyes on this barracks for as long as possible. And it does look like yellow has a jackrabbit as well for scouts, and we're going to start retreating to see if we could start preparing for this attack. Red's doing a great job getting the notes on the enemy side. Turns out orange also has a second base, which is why their 4th and 5th building slot was missing early on. And we're just going to go ahead and keep up this production of units with our heroes so we can go ahead and get ready for this attack if it ends up coming. Our teammate green does have some cloak grunts and ends up seeing the huge massive amounts of Hellbringers that are heading over to green. And so the ping is coming down right now. Red is going to try and capture one of our nodes, and I'm going to go ahead and try and stop that and send our Jerome over to our teammate. And once we clear that out, we're going to help reinforce on that right hand side. And so this is going to be a little bit interesting because here's this massive amount of Hellbringers coming in, but we do have engineer Skitters, which will be very nice to help hold this off, to provide the heals that they need. Jerome is going to be heading on over as well, and with our jackrabbits we can start focusing down on the snipers, since that's going to be our biggest priority. Suicide grunts are going to start being made here, but with the engineers and the Skitters, this is honestly going to be a decent hold. First suicide grunt comes out, and they're going to go ahead and start targeting that, but honestly it's not even useful at this point. Our second base has been established, and now we're going to take the teleporter to see if there's anything going on the enemy side in regards to expansion bases being taken. And so far we've held off that nice double barracks attack, and we're going to see if any expansion was taken outside of the normal one as well, and it looks like there wasn't. So now red has a bunch of infantry with a forge hog, and we do have some jackrabbits, but for now we're going to take the teleporter and start shifting our way through. And here is the unique part. We're actually going to go with double garage as a cleansing beam comes down on combat tech marines, trying to get rid of the mini base. And jackrabbits are also going to come in to try and stop the reinforcements that are trying to come in with orange with the bunch of grunts that he has. And so we're going to fight this off while the Skitter engineers fight off the rest. We did try to get a Y move off with Jerome, did not really work out. But a Hunter Brant is going to come down, and we also have our drop as well, which is going to help clear out what's remaining. And with the extra supply that we have, we're going to at least be able to get ourselves our next gen, which will be our 4th gen. And red is looking to still put pressure on this left hand side to stop dark blue from expanding. So now we're going to have to try and go with this engagement to push red off so we can finally get what we need. So here comes the engagement, and we're going to have additional reinforcements come in as well. Some of the engineers are getting picked off, which is not good. So we're going to try and have our units in the front to be able to fight this a little bit better. And so the jackrabbits are doing an excellent job just clearing out red's marines. And there is a forge hog that we have to deal with that we're starting to focus down on as well, because we want to get rid of the defense boost. The rams come in, which is nice, but the forge hog is still there. But we have a couple more hits with Jerome, and we actually end up taking out the forge hog, and that's going to allow us to also clear up the remainder of the marines on this side, which will be nice to see. And so a second base is going to start being established by our colony so they can go ahead and finally catch up on the economy side. We will get victory turret on our side instead of Spartan morale, because of the fact that we're not really going to be dealing with any cleansing beams or those sorts of abilities. So we're going to start our push now on the left hand side, to see if we have an opportunity for counterattack potential. And now our units have finally made it to the mini base area, and we're going to start applying some pressure. We have a bunch of warhogs, and hopefully we can get some nightingales in this army as well. And it looks like red's going to continue to commit towards the infantry tech while we continue to just work on clearing out that mini base on that side. Our second base is fully established. We're going to have some air pads set up to get those nightingales that I mentioned, and we do have turret production as well. And we're going to need some anti-air to start working on the nightingales, but with what we have right now, it is decent enough to go ahead and keep the pressure going. So here's our opportunity to go for an attack here on red's expansion base. Colony's going to stay in the front to take the brunt of the damage. Our enduring salvo is going to come down, and it's going to connect very well, doing a lot of damage across all the units. And orange comes in with a teleport, and there's a bunch of reavers. Suicide grunts came in as well, but fortunately we don't really have much infantry. We're pretty much very vehicular heavy. We're going to get that upgrade for vehicle level 2. We're going to start Kodiak production. But all in all, we're going to start our retreat because this was a great flank that came in from the enemy. At this point, we're going to just focus on taking out as many units as possible. And so, we're going to start falling back for now. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do from this position. Continue to try and focus down on nodes. And we do have gosshogs that can start helping us out as well. But it's still not really what we need. We're going to need some siege get set up here in order for us to do some additional damage. And so there is a drop that is happening from orange, but it does look like the drop has already happened and they're just chilling up there, or could have been glitched. But the pressure continues on this left hand side with the units that we have. We now have tank reinforcement. We're going to set our rally through. We're going to continue to get additional Kodiaks, and now we're going to have to start falling back a little bit because red has decided to finally push, and they do have an alright army to be able to do so. And it does look like we have ourselves a cleansing beam that's going to come down. That's really going to help push back red and do a lot of the damage in clearing up some of red's army. And so now we're in a position where if we want to take this expansion base, we can, and that's exactly what we're going to end up doing. We're going to continue to make Kodiaks, and I thought we were going to make that expansion base. I guess we did not, but we're going to continue to get our reinforcements streamlined. Yes, there's still the threat potential of them coming right through the teleporter and hitting our base, but we have enough pressure going on by red right now on red for us to be able to be okay with doing such a thing. But they have been doing an excellent job maintaining control of the nodes, and so if we can go ahead and at least stop them from capturing that node, that's going to help us out. And if we can capture it ourselves, that will be good too. So we're going to send our infantry to go ahead and do that. And now that expansion base is going to be obtained by ourselves, so we can start trying to get ourselves in a position for a counterattack in general. Kodiak is doing a great job with at least keeping the Marines busy on that right hand side. And now red is starting to transition into a little bit of air, so we will need some anti-air going forward to help support our Kodiak with the pressure that we're trying to have. And with Forge coming in from the side as well to clear out our infantry, we won't be able to capture that node. But red is going to go ahead and retreat back to their base because now we're starting to pressure this side of the map. And so additional reinforcements is coming in from red. I think they're just throwing away this units. Here comes a great scatter bomb that's going to come in by them. We may end up losing some units, but it turns out our units are going to just barely be alive right now, mainly because of the fact that we had our hero right there keeping it with the Aurora. But there's a bunch of air units, and now we just did the reverse teleporter on the enemy. We have enduring salvo as well. Heavy metal was popped by Forge, and so this is going to be a little bit of a tougher engagement. But we do have our hero here that's going to keep giving the boost to everybody around them, which will be nice to see. Our tank gets taken out, but we do have a level 1 Jerome right now, and yellow is now trying to come in with a push of their own on this expansion base with what we have. We still have a Kodiak that wants to get set up but hasn't got set up yet, and we're still trying to hold, but we just lost the expansion base, and these 3 Grizzlies are doing a magnificent job right now. But we're going to try and fall back to make sure that our Masterdom is still in great health, and the Kodiaks are going to be a little bit in danger. But with their Wolverines being focus fired instead of the Kodiaks, that's going to help us out because now Dark Blue is going to be able to push back. the remainder of the air that has shown up. So we may have lost the expansion base, but green is doing an excellent job pressuring the right side of the lane with yellow, now that yellow sent some reinforcements, and we were able to reset red's army as well. So this means this is going to give us an opportunity to move up our Kodiak line so we can continue to have good pressure against the enemy. We do have our turret drop if we need to do it, and it does look like our Kodiaks are going to start focusing down on the turrets. And we do have a little bit of Wolverines here to be able to make sure that these air units do not come in and cause any problems. And now we just got to find a way to defend it, and fortunately they don't have enough air where they feel comfortable enough to dive on it. So the Kodiak is going to keep on applying some great pressure on the base. We're going to try and position our army where we leave some of them to be able to protect our Kodiak. And now Colony is going to come in with a push of their own as well. Victory Turret is going to come in to get the boost for our Colony. Cleansing Beam is coming down, and once again those air units are going to try to go after the Kodiaks, but now Grizzlies are coming in and we have our Spartan drop. Hunter Brant comes in, which is nice as well, and we're actually going to just start with at least taking over 2 of these Grizzly tanks, which is going to be nice to see. And that means we've just got 2 more Grizzly tanks in our army, and that counter push that ends up happening does not work out because orange and yellow are on that right hand side. And unfortunately a displacement ends up happening on dark blue, bringing them to the middle of the map. But we do have our Grizzlies that are just chilling to hold that position, and we still have some great pressure with our Kodiaks. And we do have some Reavers set up in hold position here, and this looks like we will be able to at least try and hold this position up. Engineering Swarm comes down. We just gave veterancy to some of our units, and they all actually end up surprisingly surviving. And now we can just keep this pressure up to see if we can put that final stranglehold on red, because they're kind of cooped up pretty hard. As long as we keep focusing down on those turrets, it's going to give us the opportunity to go ahead and push on in. But speaking of which, orange is showing up with some engineers, some reavers, and some upgraded hunters with assault beam. Teleport comes in to dodge my enduring salvo, and honestly that was not a good teleport. The teleport definitely would have been better on my army, but that did not happen. Red space is in a lot of trouble. Colony is doing a great job pulling in the reinforcements there, and so red is going to come in with some veteran Grizzly tanks, and now we have to try and hold this position just to make sure that we can keep Colony alive and that they can't push this Kodiak line any further than what they have so far. And so we do have some Y moves being used right now to stop them from being able to push any further, and it does look like it works out because red ends up resigning, orange resigns afterwards, and the game ends up coming to a close. So I hope you enjoyed, and until the next commentary video.